We have to be careful, because the judgment, as I said many times from this podium, cast on promise is result. In other words, if I promise you something and there's no result because I don't keep to it, that's a judgment. Right. And in government, we promise several things. Many times, we are not able to keep all our promises. But we cannot say we are in government, concentrate on one thing and ignore so many things. The power of our political parties over the years to determine our success or failure as individuals must never be marginalized. The power of the people to break away from this party structure must be understood. There is a need from District 1 to District 7 to ignore those who will get on the air and say to you, do not mind the independent candidates. You know why we are independent? I am not independent because a party rejected me. I rejected the party that I supported before they chose a candidate. When you come, it's not the fact that you make mistakes in life that should bother you. It's if you continue to make those mistakes. So, the candidate at the debate in Island Harbour School, Ms. Webster, and Mr. Kennedy Hodge, and myself, we had a good debate. I thought it was very fruitful. But I said to them, Terry Harrigan opposed his uncle in this race. His uncle opposed him as well. That's all right. What is your reason for never opposing the candidate in District 1 if you lived here? And that's why they may quote me in the book. Because this quote is from me. I would rather be unknown in my country, than to be known doing nothing. What is the excuse? They have never gone out to rally against the government. They have never decided to oppose the candidate, the incumbent candidate. My excuse was simple. It is difficult to beat Kenneth Harrigan, my uncle, in Island Harbour. Secondly, I believe that my blood is a little more understanding than his, but that's all right because I got to take them all on. And on election day, knowing that I'm against 6 people, along with my uncle and some others, I pray that the people of this district, this great district, will elect me, because when I go to the valley of indecision, I will have a decision. I will take your concerns, your needs, provide job opportunity for you, represent your children. The question that comes to mind is this: if you over 30 years ago could have allowed me to teach you, why not empower me the same way to determine policy for your children? Empowering individuals who are willing and able to stand for justice in this country is a solemn obligation for in a government. I urge you to make this change. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot allow those in government to be guided by greed while we remain in need. Right. We cannot allow our education and health care to fall asunder. We cannot allow law-abiding citizens to suffer. We just can't allow these things. It is important that as much as we respect foreign investors in our country, that we also must look out for our local investors. It is with the same respect that we have set up cultural diversity in Anguilla, that we welcome people of different races, of different creeds, of different nationalities, of different spiritual backgrounds, that just as we welcome those people who are prominent, ambitious enough to do things within our country, that we must uphold our own. I stand willing and ready to be a part of any government that is ready and willing to work with me to send a powerful message that there is no one candidate who will dominate Anguilla, whether it's the chief minister, whether it's some other minister, but each one of us has a say around that table, because government is not the 4 people that we elect. Government is the people. The government, you represent the government. That's why we come to you every 5 years. So I come to you asking you to give me that opportunity. Ignore people who just jump to hurried conclusions. Ignore people who don't have the reason, the understanding to sit and listen and be educated about certain facts. Ignore people who are too strong-headed to communicate. Ignore them. Because that dialogue will continue through infinity and you'll get nowhere. We have had that before. We in government must seek to educate those who are less fortunate as well. Only through a systematic and comprehensive approach to learning can we improve the next generation of thinkers. I ask you, the electorate, not to be sidetracked by political drama and acts of politics, Anguilla talk, or any other medium designed simply to provide discord during this election. The Anguilla United Movement, the Anguilla United Front, the Anguilla Digressive Party, or Divisive Party, is not, don't have pressure on me. They are useless against us in District 1. A clear message, a clear reminder that you have found a candidate who can deliberate your cause, who can talk about your issues, who is willing to provide work for you, who is willing and ready to ensure that your children coming from primary school through high school, at the end of it, the government has a job for them. And at the end of that, during a 2-year period or 3-year period, consensus of those in government, that the government would send them abroad to study. No more must the intelligentsia of our country, must those who are willing and able to go forth be stopped by people who just show favoritism, by people who ignore this side of town. In this strange land, there are so many things that happen, and we must stop that. Throughout this campaign, all they have done is try to remove Terry Harrigan. That's all. I said that. That's the only aim. Wish that they would talk about issues. I wish they would come to you and say that we're going to build a project in Island Harbour and mean it. You may say that was said. I posit to you a few things. The Anguilla United Front got in government and they said, we're going to change the Constitution. They did not. They got in power, they said, we're going to provide work for all the people in this area. There was a time when work was flourishing. They said, we're going to do something with waterfront. They did not. The playground in Welch's was donated to the government by my aunts and uncles, my mother, their heritage, by Uncle Kenneth. Not one light has been on there. You tell me they're going to put them down? They're going to come and put them down. They said they'll do something in Eastern School, they did not. The candidate for District 1 says, I was here in conversation with people. Many of the fishermen said,